Okay. Hi, and welcome to today's episode. I'm so excited to introduce to you our guest today, Lindsey Stanton. Lindsay has always been an intuitive, receiving information and signs from grandparents and family members that have passed since she was young. She is the president of DGME, a digital technology company in the human resource space that she built and ran with her soulmate, Roger Stanton. Roger passed in October of 2020, and since his death, Lindsay has embraced her spiritual journey. She is a grief coach, a certified intuitive Reiki healer and practitioner, and is also certified in somatic therapy. Welcome, Lindsay, and thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Yeah, I feel like we have a lot of stuff in common, and I would love for you to tell our listeners a little bit about your personal journey and what led you to energy medicine.
Survival. I'll answer the last question first. Just trying to survive an enormous loss, and just kind of, I guess, letting my instincts take over and my intuition take over and guide me. I know Roger was also guiding me, as well as, I'm sure, my angels and, whatever you identify as God, source, energy. I'm sure all the things, but just really it was about just, being able to put one foot in front of the other. And especially those early days, that's kind of all you can do along your journey. As you alluded to, I had a lot of spiritual experiences growing up, but I might not have even recognized or identified them as that at that point in my life. I would say I've always been really open as an individual, but I always say it kind of went on steroids after Rogers Crossing, because the signs and information that I was getting was just amazing. I mean, and every single day, that's the one thing that there's so much beauty and amazement in it, even when you're in grief. I'm a firm believer in duality. I experience duality every day. You can be sad in the physical loss, but also just have so much joy, gratitude, and sheer awe for what the other side can do for you. So I know that was not a total clear answer to your question, but
No, it
hopefully.
was. And I mean, tell us a little bit about what your coaching entails, what you do for people.
Yeah, so a huge part of my journey was really navigating what modalities, what tools resonated and what would help me along the way, because we just do not do grief or education of people to help them with grief well as a culture. We just don't. Hard stop. We just don't.
Agreed.
And so I found, as part of like my need to try to navigate and survive, I was pulling together modalities that were used oftentimes for totally different things to help me along my journey. And I was able to ultimately pull together things in a relatively unique way and structure them in a way that helped me tremendously. And then I knew this is something that could help other people as well. And I know Roger was guiding me along that journey 100%. But a lot of and I think one thing that you and I definitely have in common, a lot of the pieces that I was able to put together are tools that are often used for people with trauma response. And I would say like some self-helpy type things also helped me along the way. Again, not things that people would probably recommend to you, professionals would recommend to you specific to grief, but they were game changers for me, and especially when they were put together in a certain type of way. So my coaching practice is working with people one-on-one, helping them tap into what they're already experiencing, their connections with their loved ones on the other side, because having that connection, having those daily signs and experiences just helps you collapse time around transforming your grief and being able to see it in a totally different light that allows you to survive and thrive. So a lot of what I do is that one-on-one work and recognition to help them identify the things that they're already experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
They just might not recognize it. They might not have visibility as to what it is. And being able to create a routine that resonates for them specifically, because everybody's a little bit different, and allow that to be a repetitious set of tools that they can tap into should they, kind of go down hard. I mean, it happens to
Yep.
all of us when we're going through grief, and also help them tap into connection more frequently and recognize when they're tapping into connection more frequently.
And so I love that everyone is different, like you said, and that's the same with my EFT clients. I mean, everyone comes to me with something different, but there's different ways that different things help different people differently. So today I kind of want to talk a little bit about angel energy and visualizations, and how bringing those into an EFT tapping session can kind of speed up the healing process. So maybe you can give us some examples of how these different modalities, and specifically angel energy, would work along with other modalities to kind of
Yeah, 100%. And I think,
amplify the healing, I guess, would be.
yeah, 100%. And I know for me personally, I don't like restrict the energy that's coming through as long as it's positive. Like I don't, and there's sometimes I know I might give credit to Roger for things that might be my angelic team. But I'm a believer that they're all kind of, I do believe in oneness. I do believe we're all one from the same source and the same energy, and tapping into that positive vibration across the board, regardless if it's your angels. And there's certain times, right, that you definitely want to focus on calling in angelic energy, especially like if you're going through anything like health wise or, super stressful, that can be a great way to tap into angelic energy. But I would say with tapping into all your helpers, I would call them, whether that's loved ones on the other side, the angelic realm, your guides, it's all the same. I would recommend the same process regardless. So for me personally, and I use EFT every single day, and it's multiple dimensions to it. So I think that it's a great tool for manifestation, whether you're trying to manifest connection, and being able to really tap into your loved ones on the other side, for example. I think it's also a beautiful grounding tool. So when you are feeling overwhelmed, or one thing that's really a struggle in grief oftentimes is looking too far in the future. That's something that I really intentionally have to avoid. I mean, we all should anyways, right?
Right.
I think grief is the reminder that, hey, be present in today.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, one of my go-tos every single morning I tap, and one of my go-tos is I'm divinely guided and divinely protected. And I do feel that helps open the pathway. It helps regulate my physical body, but it also helps open the pathway and my spiritual soul level connection and knowingness that I am protected and calling in my angels and my loved ones. I love personally using it in connection with visualization and meditation. So for me, visualizing, either an outcome to a situation that I want to see, or being able to have a visual experience with your loved ones on the other side, which when you visualize, whether it's a past experience or a current experience with a loved one on the other side, you are calling them in. It's basically like knocking on their door. So when you combine that type of cellular response that you're going to get from a visualization with the physical body response that you're going to get from EFT, it's just a really beautiful way to integrate, and you do feel it at a cellular level, and your body responds and reacts as if this just happened.
So so the angel energy, a little bit, I guess I use it in my practice. I ask always permission. Can I call in some angels to be here with us, or whatever? I always protect myself with a blue light, kind of Archangel Michael's healing light, prior to a session, just because energies can cross over, whatever this person is experiencing, grief, anxiety, PTSD, what have you, I don't want to take that on in my
Yeah.
energetic self. So putting some protection on you, angel protection is always something that I do. And I just learned recently, and tell me if this is how it works, because Lindsay would know more than I would, um, that when you call on angels, which I have done this regularly. I mean, I was raised Catholic. I'm a very spiritual person. I would say that I pray a lot. And when
Mhm.
I'm praying to for something specific and usually to someone specific, whether that be an angel, a saint, or whatever, just because that's how I was taught. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm asking for something else. But I just recently heard that when you're calling in angel energy, you should actually speak out loud and call in your angels to protect you. And the past, I will say a prayer on my boys' heads before they go to bed every night and say, may the angels protect you always and keep you safe, always bring you back to me, kind of thing. And that's really the only time I've ever said out loud something. But I've been telling my clients recently to use this verbal cue to ask, because there are angels everywhere. They just want to help. They're kind of just waiting for us to say, hey, I need help. I'm lost. I'm driving. My GPS went out. Somebody help me. Angels, please come and help me. And then all of a sudden there'll be a sign that says detour this way. Um, so is this what we should be doing if we're needing angels in our daily life?
Yes, I love this question. I do, and I agree with you 100%. And angels present themselves in all forms. I've had just some phenomenal stories of definitely, I knew it was the angelic realm showing up in a semi-physical form, but I don't think you have to say things out loud. I'm not a firm believer in, like, there's any hard and fast rules. I think if you set the intention, even if it's in your head, I would say that I do feel like energetically, when you speak out loud, you're activating your throat chakra and you're opening the path better and more. I use that. I use the vocalization tool in a lot of practices. So for example, my nightly routine, I thank Roger every single night for guiding me, protecting me, sending me signs, and just surrounding me with his love. And I say that out loud. I also say my prayers out loud. I do feel like there is just an activation level with it. I do my EFT out loud. So sometimes when I'm like traveling, I do it while I'm working out. I like motion in combination with EFT. And so I might be on a treadmill in a hotel
You're
doing my
tapping and
EFT
saying yes.
tapping. Yeah. And it's like, okay, I hope nobody walks by the fitness center right now, but
And it does work. I mean, that's how we're taught. And in training, you say it out loud. I mean, it works better, it resonates better. You're bringing it into your consciousness more when you're verbalizing it. So it makes sense to me. But that, calling, asking for what you need. But you're saying that regardless, if you set the intention for that angel energy, that it should happen, it should
right,
just organically happen,
right.
right? Okay, so I'm wondering if you could give us an example of a client, or how you would call angel energy into just a intuitive Reiki session, or as during your grief coaching, or anything. Can you give me an
Yeah.
example of where it's worked well, where you've had a really good success with it?
100% similar to you. Before every session, I actually myself, before I even have a conversation with the client, before I go live with my client, I will kind of do a mini meditation, a little session by myself, just to set the intention for any loved ones that the client might have on the other side to come through and help guide me in, the advice and conversation that we're having. I do ask the angelic realm to help guide the session and pull through any messages that are meant for the client, because oftentimes, even when I'm doing more of the coaching style with my clients, messages will come through. I might randomly reference a song or a place or a bird or, whatever it might be, that's something very specific to them, and not even necessarily know that that's what's happening until they tell me. So I do feel like it's really important for me to open myself up before each session to the angelic realm and ultimately their guidance. I also start all my sessions, both the Reiki and the coaching, with like kind of a mini grounding and opening of everyone involved to the angelic realm, because I think it helps reset the clients to prepare them for the session and make them more easily open to receive, and just kind of brush off whatever craziness from the day and the physical world that they're coming into the session with.
So can you give us kind of a little experience of how you would do that, how you would ground someone? Because I use grounding techniques. If a client comes to a session and I can tell that they're very agitated, I'll say, hey, let's do this grounding technique real quickly that just involves kind of some energy, whether it's where we're putting our fingers on our body, or we're kind of just brushing off that energy that's on us. Like you said, how would you set the intention to call some angel energy in to help?
Yeah, absolutely. So I normally have them, first of all, I often have them play really high hertz, megahertz music, just to help raise the vibration, because that helps us connect with the other side too, because they're energetically coming down to our level, and we have to rise ourselves up as much as we possibly can, so that we kind of can meet in the middle, if you will. But so I generally recommend either I'll play it or I'll have them play it in the background, and we'll just do a short closing of the eyes, some deep breathing. I love box breathing just for a quick reset. Again, just get that nervous system ready and prepared and more in a better, healthier place for them to have the session. And then I'll just have them picture themselves somewhere they love. For me, that's the forest. So if that resonates with them, we'll picture ourselves in a beautiful forest surrounded by trees, listening to really in the ground and connected with Mother Earth and nature, and just visualizing something that they love, whether it's someone coming into their life that they love, it might be their person on the other side, and just connecting with that energy and just feeling that. I walk them through kind of feeling that up and down their physical body. And then that's just a really good way to open up for connection.
I love that. I think that's really great. And I mean, would you have any suggestions for me on how to use angel energy better in my sessions with clients? Because like I said, basically all I do is I'll just ask out loud for protection from Archangel Michael, or from Seraphim, or from someone that I know of specifically for what we're working on, that is an angel specifically for this type of work that we're doing. But is there a better way that I could be doing it or should be doing it, in your opinion?
I think you've been intuitively guided to do it in a really beautiful way. And we each have angels that I say more resonate with us personally, that are, probably just closer to us and more on our team, our spirit team. So I think what you're doing is great. Maybe just expanding it a little bit. And if that person has a loved one on the other side, kind of no one knows us better than our family, whether it's our, even of our soul family on the other side, it might even be somebody generationally that the person that you're working with has never even met, but they have visibility into things that we don't in the physical world. So maybe calling them in as well as angels to help guide the session.
Yeah, I think that's really awesome. I mean, now that you mentioned that, there are oftentimes reasons that these clients have started behaviors or things that have happened to them, and they start because of a trauma of some type, and a lot of times it's a death. And I've never even thought to say, why don't we call in so-and-so that is, no longer on this earth, but can be with you and, guide you through this healing. And I think that that's really powerful. And I never thought of it until you mentioned it. I mean,
It
I'm
is,
always
and they're
calling in for,
there.
yeah, protection help, but not like, and I also have clients that are experiencing something from a past life. And I haven't really thought to say, well, let's call that person in to be right here with you, holding your hand or doing whatever makes you feel comfortable. Or maybe you need to say something. Maybe you feel like you need to say something to this person, or, ask a question. Why do I have this affliction? Did it start from here or whatever? But I think that's super powerful. And we aren't taught that in EFT. I mean, it's intuitive the way I don't call in angel energy in every session. It's kind of intuitive, but I think I should do more of it because it's very supportive. And I feel like the client would feel even more supported from
Yeah.
another realm, or someone or a physical being that used to, someone who has passed away, a loved one, whatever, to feel that support in a healing session. I think that could be so transformative.
Right. Yeah. And they are available to us and ready to help heal us, just like our angels are. They are waiting for us to call on them as well. So, especially, even in situations where there might have been generational trauma with, that specific relationship, it can provide a lot of healing because oftentimes for those who cross, like if you follow, near death experiences and things like that, we, in our life review, we see and feel what we did to other people and how it resonated with that person or how they might have felt during it. So they have that level of insight that can help with, healing as well, because they've now felt what you felt when you were going through that experience with them, even if it's not anything major. But, grief definitely brings major rumination with it.
Mm-hmm,
And, the woulda, coulda, shouldas. So
mm-hmm.
a lot of times that level of like openness and connection can help heal and get you past something you might be fixated on that, you know, we obsess with over, on the physical side, but on the other side, they're not like thinking about it. They're not blaming you or, whatever it is you might be fixated on. So
Mm-hmm.
it can open up an opportunity to release some of those things that you might feel stuck into.
Yeah, I had a really interesting card reading recently with a medium who I never had her read my cards, but she was recommended and by a friend of mine, and we went and had like a dual reading. So my friend and I went and sat with her, but my friend has seen this medium before. And towards the end of the session, I mean, it was a very powerful reading. I mean, very spot on, all positive. And she asked me at the end of the reading, she said, I keep seeing um, a man, someone that died. Did someone just die that was close to you? And and she said, within the last 3 months or further, she said. And I said, well, I did just have someone die that was close to me. It was a high school friend of mine who we were very close. And he had passed away. I feel like it had only been a month. And she said, but he was very, very spiritual and very connected when he was here on earth, very, very spiritual. And he had ALS, so he couldn't really.
I knew you were going to say that. Roger
eh,
passed from ALS.
Are you
Knew
serious?
you were going to say that.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. So I, I mean, I had just been to his funeral like the week before this, and she said to me, it takes people like about 3 months to cross over. So she said, but for this specific person, I am not surprised. She said, I see him as this really big energy. And he would have helped anyone do anything. He was the nicest, sweetest guy you would ever. I mean, all he wanted to do was help people. And he left the earth with this high vibration that like all he did was write on social media with he had to like speak into this thing that would type for him, and he would post on social media every day something spiritual, uplifting. So he was very connected. And she said, he's here. She said, he's in the room and he wants you to know that he's okay. And I didn't know this about my friend that I was having the reading with, but her dad passed from ALS. And so my friend that I was with, the medium said, "Oh my gosh, your dad is here, and they're making introductions right now, but he wants you to know that he's safe and he's happy, and to call on him if you need him." And I didn't remember that until just our conversation just now. So, like, he is
Wow.
this angel that I could ask when I'm in need, and I didn't even think of it. So, I mean,
And look
it's
at all the connections that the other side makes for us. Look at the conversation and the commonality that you and I have from this conversation.
I know
Roger was the same way. I mean, and so positive. The whole time he was sick, when he was in hospice, he was so positive, and it was all about everybody but him.
exactly.
And, and he has this, I've been told by multiple mediums, and I obviously feel it daily myself, but he has this higher ability on the other side, and he's on what's called my high council, because I 100% trust him.
Mhm.
And so he can do things that other loved ones on the other side can't do for me because of that. But just full circle with so many of the elements that you just
I know. I
mentioned.
have goosebumps. I don't even know if you can
I did
see,
too.
but
The
my
whole time you were
my
talking,
arm
my
hair
hair
is
was
like
lifted.
totally standing up
Yes,
this whole time we're talking. It's like,
yes,
what? I mean, but I believe that you and I, like the universe put us together. We were supposed to have this conversation to
100%.
be able to bring this to light for other people, that this is available to us, but it is so underused, I feel like, angel energy. And although I've been taught how to pray and all of that through my whole life, this is a different kind of energy and something that a lot of people I feel like are really missing out on, that they don't know that this is available to them. And since now that we've had this conversation, I feel like I'm going to use this energy even way more than I have been. So it's out there, it's available for anyone, and it does help, and it can help you anytime you're in need. I mean, like these angels, I just picture them all around, just people that I don't even know. They're just these beautiful souls that are there, and they're like bored. Please ask me for help. Please. What
Yes,
do you
yeah.
need? I'm right next to you. Please. And I always get all kinds of stuff going on too in my house. And my husband thinks, like, what are you
Same.
doing? Yeah, I mean, I'm in the bathroom and the lights are flickering. And then my husband will be in the bathroom and he'll say, "Will you just turn the lights on so I can shave?" Because it's like I make all these funny things happen in the house. But I said, no, there's people are communicating. There's like, it's energy,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
energetic frequency.
and when you're talking also about these frequencies to listen to, if anyone is curious, I will put some links in the show notes to some frequencies that you can listen to, like what Lindsay is talking about, these high frequencies, because I have my clients listen to frequencies as well that are specific for healing OCD, that are specific for anxiety, and they're like a subconscious thing. It's something that your subconscious is absorbing, and it helps your neural pathways heal when you don't even have to think about it. But it's just another
Right.
way to kind of put you on that level, like Lindsay said, with another realm, with the energy there that we can't necessarily tap into in our conscious waking moments. So I'm just thrilled that we could have this conversation today. And
Me
before we
too.
wrap up, do you want to tell our listeners where they can find you and about any offerings you might have available for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So my Instagram handle is The Healing Grief Guide, and I'm very active on there. I do lives each week, different topics on the spiritual realm. I feature different guests on there. So that's a really great place to follow me if you want to learn more about me, kind of tap more into my energy and see if it resonates with you. And then my website is thesoulrevival.com. My sessions are on there. A link to my book is on there, so you can, explore the different things. And I would say if your listeners want to reach out to me, shoot me a DM on Instagram, for example. I've got a grounding healing, and I'm happy to send that to everybody by email.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And just a reminder, if you'd like to work with me, you can schedule a free discovery call on my website, tapintohealth.net. Or if you're ready to start right now, you can visit my online store and download pre-recorded mini sessions. Thanks so much for being here today, Lindsay. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Loved our conversation.
Thanks to all of you for listening today. We'll see you next time. And until then, keep tapping.